Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. I'm speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas, and today I'm continuing my list of top 20 favorite movies of the 1980s, covering that decade, a decade that I was born in. Movies I don't really remember back in the 80s, movies I watched later in the 90s, most likely. So I did my 20 through 16 already, so now this video I'm going to do number 15 to number 11. And the first two movies on my list are two from one of my favorite action martial arts actors, Jackie Chan. The two classic Jackie Chan movies, number 15 and number 14. Huge Jackie Chan fan. I've been a fan since I was a kid, I guess. At least since I was a teenager when they came out with the Rush Hour movies and so forth. And then I went back and watched his older movies. He really got to start back in the 70s as a stuntman, and then became a star in the late 70s and into the 80s. And I think his work in the 80s is just the greatest work of martial artists. Jackie Chan is my favorite of the martial arts actors, and I'm a huge fan of a lot of the kung fu movies of the 70s and 80s and onward, and even today. I love a lot of the martial arts movies that come out. Like I already covered Bloodsport in the last video I did. So there's a lot of just more probably videos, more movies like that in my 80s list. I do enjoy a good 80s action movie. But yeah, Jackie Chan was just killing it in the 80s. I mean, just unparalleled as a movie star, action movie star, martial artist. Not only is the martial arts choreography is amazing, is also he puts a lot of physical comedy in his movies, which I really like. So there are really a lot of action comedies, and also stunt work is just amazing. He has no stuntman; he does his own stunts, and these stunts look like they should kill him. But so my first movie, number 15, is a movie called Project A. Came out in 1983, the year I was born. You got Jackie Chan, then you got Sammo Hung here. He also has a pretty good supporting role. Sammo Hung was a great martial arts actor back in the 70s and 80s, and started in his own movies, and he's very good. Also, does a lot of action comedy, and they're really well together. Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung did I want to say 3 or 4 movies together, in the 80s era. I guess I think they're all about the 80s, and they're really successful. Project A sees Jackie Chan as a police officer in Hong Kong, and this is like I want to say like early 1900s, maybe late 1800s, China, Hong Kong, and what I love is that they've taken on this kind of European style of the clothing and fashion. The girls are wearing more of the European type dresses, and the men are wearing more European style clothing, I think, and suits and so forth. And I love the costuming is really good. I like the fact that it's set in a kind of a period piece, because sometimes kung fu movies are either like in ancient China or sometimes modern day. So this was kind of interesting. It was a period piece, but it wasn't like ancient China. It was a little more recent than that. A little different design than I usually see in a movie. And it's just a really fun action comedy movie. Like I said, he's a police officer. He's trying to undercover, a criminal organization, trying to take down this lead of the criminal organization, and he has to go through a lot of red tape that he hates. That he just wants to catch the bad guy, but there's all these politics that are involved, and of course there's corrupt politicians. There's even pirates involved in this movie. And so it's your usual police action movie. Not a lot of shooting, I don't think, goes along in this movie that I can remember. But there's some great stunts done. One of the great stunts he's ever done kind of goes back to like the silent film era of Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd, and Charlie Chaplin. He has a scene where he is hanging off of a clock and really high up, and he falls from it, and Jackie Chan really falls from the clock in real life, and it basically lands on his head and somehow is still alive. I don't know how. But it's a incredible stunt there, and there's a really good chase sequence on a bicycle, and there's a lot of fun stunts that he does with that, and he just does some incredible stuff that I've never seen anybody do before. But yeah, it's just a really fun movie. I think even if you're not an action fan, I think you would enjoy this movie because it's got a lot of good comedy in it too, like I said, and some good chemistry between Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung, especially. Sammo Hung plays like a kind of a con man, and very comical. Anyway, so yeah, just really, really great Jackie Chan action movie. Project A at number 15. Number 14, my other Jackie Chan movie. I would say probably my favorite Jackie Chan movie of all time. One of the great action movies of all time. Police Story. Jackie Chan there. I got a DVD. This one came out, I think, after that one. Let's see, 1985, so 2 years after Project A. This one, again, he's a police officer in Hong Kong, I believe, or China. And this time it's more a modern day. It's set in the 80s, which I don't see a lot of Jackie Chan movies set in the modern era. He does a lot of ancient Chinese, era type. So this one's got a little more violent action. There's a little more shooting involved, people shooting each other, besides just hand-to-hand combat. But it's really fantastic. And Jackie Chan, I believe, directed this movie too. And it's just a fantastic action movie. I've even heard like Sylvester Stallone say that he's borrowed action scenes from this movie to use in his movies because they're so good. And so it's really been a really influential action movie to other action movies afterwards, and to directors and so forth that borrowed from this movie. There's this great chase sequence on a bus that's really iconic, where he's hanging on the side of the bus with an umbrella. He's doing it in real life because he's doing his own stunts. Very dangerous. And it's still got the physical comedy that the other movies have. But then there's some really good, dramatic, grittier parts of the movie. And I think Jackie Chan gives really good performance all around. I think, like I said, best performance, I think, by Jackie Chan, doing both comedy and drama in this movie. And then the last action sequence is one of the great action sequences, where he's fighting this. Again, he's a police officer, like I said, last one, kind of trying to put away this criminal boss, gang leader, but they can't get him legally, so he's trying to find legal reasons to get him in prison. Even though everybody knows he's guilty, they can't find the legal reason to put this guy in prison, and so he's trying to kind of find ways to do that. And so they have this big action sequence at a big mall at the end of the movie, and it's incredible. He's fighting all the the goons and stuff, and there's so much glass in a mall, and so people are getting just thrown through glass, kicked through glass, just a bunch of glass being broken throughout the whole last sequence, and it's really fun to watch everybody get thrown through all this glass in different sequences. And yeah, it's just a really amazing scene, and he has one of the most amazing stunts at the end where he slides down a pole. Very dangerous, that Jackie Chan does at the end anyway. So yeah, definitely one of the great action movies. If you like action, definitely check out Police Story. That's at number 14. All right, so going off those action movies, I'm going to my favorite Star Trek movie at number 13. This is Star Trek 4, Voyage Home. The fourth one in the series of the original Star Trek crew. This one came out in 1986. Directed by Leonard Nimoy, the second one that he directed after the third one, Search for Spock. And I like this one a lot because of it's a great script. I love the whole idea is that aliens have come to talk to these humpback whales on Earth in the 23rd century, but their humpback whales have gone extinct. So this alien ship probe is going to destroy Earth basically because they can't communicate with the humpback whales. And so the Captain Kirk and their crew they find a way to go back in time to go to 20th century San Francisco to find two humpback whales so they can put it on the ship and go back to the future. I just now thought that's another movie, Back to the Future. They have to go back to the future. So they have to go back to the 23rd century so these humpback whales can talk to this alien so they don't destroy Earth anyway. So the stakes are pretty high. It's all mankind on Earth anyways. And so it's very interesting, different storyline than we've seen from the other Star Trek movies. And I like that there's no Klingons involved. It seems like every single Star Trek movie is Klingons are always involved. But so I kind of enjoyed that we did something different. And I love the time travel. I always like time travel movies, so I do enjoy the time travel aspect of the movie. And so this, of course, and like I said, this what I like about this is the humor. It's one of the more humorous movies out of Star Trek, and I love the Star Trek crew. Of course, uh, I'm a fan of Star Trek, more of the Next Generation, but I also like the original series is really good too. But I love the characters. What makes that show so good, not even so much the plots or the alien species, but just the camaraderie of the crew and their chemistry between, especially Captain Kirk and Spock and McCoy, especially those three are really good together. They do a lot of scenes together, but even the other crew members are really great. I love what they do together. And this was a good one where you just have the main crew, all the main characters, kind of in this different century, in the past. So they're a fish out of water type scenario where they don't understand things like they don't understand money. What is money? They don't have money in the 23rd century. So there's some comedy there. And the computers are, not as high tech. And even the usage of curse words, it's a funny scene of, how to use a curse word in in conversation. Uh, so there's a lot of good stuff like that. But it's also, I love about the script is how you have this, conflict. We had to get these humpback whales, and so we got this they kind of planned out this whole like, how do we get the humpback whales? How do we get them on the ship? We have to get something to hold them in water, and all these things. And so then they go about trying to solve these problems, and they're solving them. And each crew member gets their own moment. I love to solve this problem, and as they're solving these problems, new problems come up that they have to solve. Anyway, so I enjoy that. You think they're out, they think they've done it, and then something bad happens, and they have to overcome that. Even to the very end, I thought, oh, okay, they succeeded. They got the whales. They're going back, and then something bad happens, and you're like, oh no, another bad thing. So I enjoy that. It keeps you on your feet that way. Really well paced movie. So obviously, if you're a Star Trek fan, this is a must see. If you're not, still I think it's a good movie. Like I said, of all the Star Trek movies, this is, I think, definitely the one to get into if you want to get into Star Trek. Anyway, so that's Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. Number 13. Number 12, I don't have the DVD, but it is a movie called On Golden Pond from 1981. This is a drama starring Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn, two legendary actors. Also, Jane Fonda plays a big role in this movie. But mostly it's about Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn's characters as they, of course, they're older. I think maybe in their 70s, of course, in real life and in the movie, and long retired, and they have a summer home on this. They call it on Golden Pond. It's like this lake, and they have a boat, and they go on a boat, and Henry Fonda likes to go fishing and stuff like that. And they have a daughter played by Jane Fonda who brings along her boyfriend and her boyfriend's son, who's like 12 or 13, and so they leave the son with Henry and Fonda and Katharine Hepburn while they go on a vacation. And so it's about them dealing with this, 12, 13-year-old who doesn't want to be there, and kind of show him around on the pond, on the boat, fishing, and all these things, and how to, dive and stuff. And but it deals a lot with aging. Henry Fonda's character's, older, and he's not, he's a bit of grouch, and he doesn't like getting older. And there's lots of, looking back at his past, and kind of, wishing he can go back to being younger, and all this. So it deals a lot with that. I enjoy. Henry Fonda gives such a great performance. Of course, he wins the Oscar for Best Actor for the movie. Gives a really great performance. The only Oscar he ever won, which is crazy because he's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's given so many great performances. So it's kind of crazy that he finally gets his Oscar for this one. And only 2 Oscar nominations in his career. He wins the Oscar and then dies, I think, shortly after he gets the Oscar. So he was right at the end of his career, right at the end of his life. And so it's nice that he got this recognition. Katharine Hepburn also wins an Oscar for Best Actress, winning her 4th. Still the only actress to win 4 Best Actress Oscars. And, something that hadn't been beat since. Pretty incredible. Both give great performances. And one of the best things about this movie, I said, it's a very good drama. There's a little comedy mixed in, but mostly a dramatic movie. Like I said, it's about him, Henry Fonda, and it's about her daughter, which is great. Is Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda, who are real life father daughter. They're playing father daughter in the movie, and in the movie they have this strange relationship. They don't get along really well, and in real life they had an estranged relationship and didn't get along really well. Because both in the movie and real life, Henry Fonda was kind of a real strict father. Of course, he was an actor, so he was gone a lot. And both his kids were actors. Of course, Peter Fonda, who also passed away recently, and of course Jane Fonda became big actors, followed in their father's footsteps. So it's this great drama about trying to reconnect with his daughter in real life and in the movie. And so those scenes where they're talking about the fact that they don't get along and they would like to see each other more, is especially touching because that was true in real life. So those scenes seem so real because they kind of were in real life anyway. So I love those scenes between them two. It's about reconnecting with his daughter, and he does that through bonding with the stepson or whatever, or his step grandson. He kind of bonds with this kid, and that helps him kind of be able to bond with his daughter again. Anyways, so it's a really wonderful story, great acting, great cinematography, beautiful lake. Also really good music. So definitely one of the great dramas of this era. Ongoing Pawn at number 12. And the last movie I'm going to talk about at number 11, another movie I don't have currently, but one of my favorites is a movie called Dead Poets Society. It came out in 1989, so right at the end of the 80s, starring, of course, Robin Williams, the great late Robin Williams, one of his best roles, playing a English professor, or I think they're in high school, but it's this like really prestigious all boys high school, I believe, or prep school or something. And he's the English professor / he teaches poetry. Of course, that's why I call it Dead Poet Society. And he's this really great teacher who has these, and all these boys are in, and they're all, of course, teenagers or going through, this transitional period in their life. And they all come from like wealthy families, prestigious families, who really just want them to go to a good school, get good grades, get a good job, make money, live that kind of life. And then, of course, some people don't want, they want to do their own thing, but they can't because their parents are making them. And so there's this, idea that they're not really happy with, having to go to the school and, having to do what their parents say. They don't have any freedom in their life or choices in their life. Anyways, and you have Robin Williams, who's like, he's this really, of course, Robin Williams, of course, he's very out of the box type, teacher. He thinks out of the box. First day, rip the first page of the textbook. Something no one else will do because all the other teachers are very, very strict. And like they teach Latin and all these kind of classes, and none of them have really senses of humor. But here, Robin Williams' character, Keating, I believe his name is, has this really great sense of humor, and he's very, he stands on his desk, and he has this student stand on their desk, all these kind of crazy things that nobody else does, but he teaches them carpe diem, seize the day, don't take each day for granted, live your life, do what you want to do what you're passionate about, and that's how you live a good life, and so he really inspires them to, think out of the box and not want to be what their parents want to be and do what they want to do. And so it's a very inspiring movie. I think to inspire greatness out of his students, and it's very fun. Of course, great both dramatically and there's a dramatic and comedic part of Robin Williams in this movie. He's definitely got he does his impressions, and does his improvisations, and he's all over the classroom doing these things and making his students do things unconventionally, and but then there's some good dramatic moments that Robin Williams has, and he totally nails it. Of course, he gets nominated for Best Actor for this role. In my opinion, my favorite Robin Williams role. I think he's just amazing in this movie. In fact, when I was going to college to be a teacher myself, one of my teaching classes, we watched this movie, and talked about it, and how to write a paper about this teaching styles, of this movie. So, so I thought that was interesting to, that we're kind kind of learning about being teachers from this movie when I was in college. Anyways, he got some iconic last role, "Oh Captain, My Captain," if you know the movie. That's such a great scene at the very end. But yeah, definitely, yeah, must see. It's a little dark at times, but I mean, one of the best teacher movies I've ever seen. Anyways, I like teacher movies. As you've seen, Mr. Holland's Opus was my number one of the 90s, so I always like a good teacher movie. Anyway, so that's my number 11, Dead Poet Society, and that's the end of my list for today. I'll continue on later with my top 10. And so just thank you for watching this video, and I thank you to all my subscribers. I'm up to 30 subscribers now, and so I really appreciate all of the subscribers that have subscribed to me, and have encouraged me to keep doing this. Not a lot of subscribers, but I enjoy everything. I'm happy that for every single subscriber that has taken the time to watch my videos, or hopefully like them, push the like button, and make comments. I enjoy seeing the comments and getting to respond back. Anyway, so yeah, feel free to comment on this video and what you think about the movies I pick. I really love to hear back, and I just really want to say thank you, and I appreciate all of you.